Oh, we have. Never mind. All right.
Oh, do you want me to mute?
Hello and welcome to a little midweek action here in the Cal Ripken League. We're live here at Prince George's Community College in Largo, Maryland, as we get set for a matchup between the DC Grays and the Bethesda Big Train. And leading off for the Bethesda Big Train, it's actually going to be a new leadoff hitter. It's shortstop Keenan Bowman, who fouls off the first pitch from Corey Savadoff. Now, hello everyone, I'm Quentin Corpuel, joined by my broadcast partner Phoebe Winters on a steamy day here in Largo, as Bowman with a high fly ball in a deep left field. Back goes Marmo at the warning track. He'll make the catch for out number one. So Phoebe, apologies for the late start, but how are you?
I'm doing well. It is a steamy afternoon here at Princess George's Community College, but I'm excited to see how this game turns out. Currently, both teams are tied in the series. Grays took the first matchup 2-1. Big Train took the second matchup on June 16th, 6-2.
As the center fielder Andrew Williamson fouls off the first pitch for a strike.
And we're already seeing some changes within the Big Train lineup. We got some new players during their last game on Sunday, namely Luke Vaughn, who's going to be third in the lineup and catcher for tonight.
The 0-1 to Williamson's high and outside from Corey Savadoff for ball one. So 4 teams currently in the Ripken League standings, sitting at 9 and 10. We're about to watch 2 of them play today. As the 0-1 is hit in the left field, under it is Greg Marmo again for out number 2. So a couple of quick outs for Savadoff. That'll bring up the catcher Luke Vaughn from the University of Alabama. Had a lovely Big Train debut the other night. A hit in his first at bat, as well as a stellar night behind the plate.
Big Train came so close to the victory, but ultimately fell just short to the Alexandria Aces on Sunday.
Vaughn grounds that one to the left side and into left field for a base hit. A nice diving effort by Brady Steiner at third, but unfortunately the Marist Red Fox couldn't catch that one. So the Big Train have a runner aboard with 2 outs. That'll bring up the first baseman Emilio Gonzalez, who had by far his best game of the season in Alexandria a few nights ago. Registered 6 RBIs, including a 3-run home run earlier in the game. As the first pitch is an off-speed, low and inside for a ball.
So around the Cal Ripken League, DC Grays and Bethesda Big Train going to be the first game tonight. First pitch was at 5 o'clock. 6:30, it's going to be the Giants and the Aces.
As the count now 1-1, and Gonzalez fouling that one off into foul territory down the third base line.
And at 7 p.m., it's going to be the T-Bolts with the Braves, as well as the Crop Dusters with the Senators.
So with Gaithersburg and Alexandria, a battle of the league's 2 best teams, each of them leading their respective divisions, as Luke Vaughn is sent back to first by Savadoff.
Again, Vaughn making an immediate impact since his first appearance on Sunday during the Big Trains contest with the Alexandria Aces.
That one's in the dirt for ball 2.
We say dirt, it's actually a turf field out here at Prince George's Community College, making that heat a lot worse. It's currently 95 degrees here, but with the turf surface.
As Gonzalez will ground that one over to second, it's fielded nicely by James Lehman, and he'll get it over to first for out number 3. So no runs on 1 hit, 1 left on base for the Big Train. The Grays up to bat for the first time this evening when we come back here on Big Train Baseball Network.
lift you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up.
Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. A scoreless top of the first for Bethesda. We're going to kick off the bottom of the first momentarily, as it'll be Will Clemens on the mound for the Big Train, facing the designated hitter Anthony Rocco to lead things off here in the bottom of the first. Here comes the first pitch from Clemens. That one's fouled off into the backstop for strike one. Now, the last time these two teams met, it was at Shirley Povich Field. The Big Train took home a victory 6-2, as the count now 0-2 on Rocco. A couple of quick strikes from Clemens. Now, defense proved to be a deciding factor, as the Grays committed 6 errors in that contest. And the last time these two teams met here, as Rocco fouls that one off to stay alive. DC won a slugfest 2-1. As that win a little while back, pretty emblematic of their season thus far. As Rocco's going to foul another one off. They aren't spectacular offensively. They've hit the fewest homers in the league. They have stolen the fewest bases in the league. Their batting average is middle of the pack, but it's been their pitching that's really carried them back into the playoff picture. Prior to their loss yesterday against the Senators, they had won 4 out of their last 5. As the 0-1 is skied out of play down the first base line. That one actually over our heads and right into the Big Train bullpen behind us.
I think we've talked a lot about the late inning magic that we've seen from the Big Train squad. It's putting up big numbers.
And another one's fouled off. And so with one out, that'll bring up the shortstop, Matt Colella, hailing from Lafayette College.
Matt Colella, a product of Clifton, Virginia.
That one low for ball 1.
Went to Centerville High School and was the team captain as well as the team MVP.
He enters today tied with Michael Lavagna for the team lead in batting average. That one's grounded right back to Clemens, who flips it over to first for out number 2. So the nice reflexes there from Clemens, fielding the comebacker from Colella. And with 2 outs and no one on, that'll bring up the second baseman, James Lehman.
Lehman, a rising junior at Wofford College, hails from Bluffton, South Carolina. His mother, Missy, actually played basketball at College of Charleston, and his father, Bill, played tennis at Western Carolina.
First pitch to Lehman's outside for a ball.
Played 11 games with Wofford this past spring. Recorded only 4 at-bats, resulting in 4 runs.
The 1-0 to Lehman, outside for ball 2. As you might have heard in the background, a military jet as we are near Andrews Joint Base. As the count now 2-1 on James Lehman. I'm curious to see how low a jet might get, as we experienced one the last time we were here. 2-1 pitch is in there for strike 2. So Clemens getting Lehman looking on back-to-back strikes. A great job of battling back. Let's see if he can finish it off. As the 2-2 is just low for ball 3. And waiting on deck is the guy Colella is tied for in batting average entering tonight. It's Michael Lavagna, the right fielder. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. That one swung on and missed for strike 3.
So a quick 1-2-3 for Will Clemens and fielding squad.
Clemens getting Lehman swinging on an off speed in the turf. So a scoreless first for both teams. We'll be back with the top of the second shortly here on Big Train Baseball Network.
Keep watching you when you leave. Something new. Keep hoping you feel this too. Holding on and on and on and on. Hoping I can get to know you better. Living in sweet suburbia. Some fun is all we want. Two kids come alive in a night rush. I'll be the girl next door. You be my summer crush. Yeah, I think you should come and pick me up. 'Cause nothing feels as good as summer love.
Welcome back to Prince George's Community College. Scoreless after one. About to start the top of the second with the 5-hitter Davin Whitaker, as the first pitch is way upstairs for ball one. Now last game, Whitaker was overtaken for the team lead in hits by Andrew Williamson. Williamson at 19, Whitaker along with Bastion at 18, as that one's popped up down the third base line. And under it for out number one is the third baseman Brady Steinert. So a quick at bat there from Whitaker. That'll bring up Chris Diaz, the right fielder.
So again, as we mentioned, these two teams tied in their series. Grays took the first win. Big Train stormed back with a 6-2 victory over the Grays the second time they met.
That first pitch in the turf for a ball. Now, as we've mentioned a couple of times, the last time these two teams played here, Chris Diaz was responsible for Bethesda's only run on a solo home run. As the 1-0 swung on and missed for a strike. Diaz wasn't in the starting lineup for last game against Alexandria, but back manning the 9 position tonight. Here comes the 1-1. That one upstairs for ball two.
Again, the DMV area still experiencing a heat wave. Temperatures in the mid to high 90s.
As the 2-1 hit high and deep into center field, ranging over is Ellis Reed, who's got it for out number 2.
Great piece of hitting from Diaz, though.
A well-struck ball. Unfortunately for the Big Train, Ellis Reed didn't have to move too much for that one, as Jaden Bastion will step up to the plate with 2 outs and no one on. Again, tied for second in hits on the team, along with Davin Whitaker.
Can hear some words of encouragement coming from the dugout.
First pitch swung on and missed for strike one. A nice off-speed from Savidoff. Now, as you said, Phoebe, the sun is trying to come out a little bit, but I wouldn't mind if it stayed behind the clouds. It is muggier than a pottery barn, as that pitch is inside for ball one.
See a jet flying over our heads.
That one's lined to the shortstop, Colella. He fields and fires over to first, but the throw's off the mark. So a nice scoop over at short by Colella, but unfortunately couldn't keep the throw on target. So Bastion will reach first with 2 outs, bringing up the second baseman, Jordan Crosland.
Again, we've seen the Big Train players bounce around the lineup quite a bit as new faces have filtered in.
Crosland showing bunt but pulling back, although that first pitch from Save-It-Off was a strike.
Bastion and Crosland started off the season as the 1 and 2 hitters, moving down the lineup to increase the depth throughout the lineup.
But it feels like no matter where Crosland's been, he's produced a lot, as Bastion will be sent back to first by Save-It-Off. I will say sliding in the turf today cannot feel good. Luckily for any prospective base runners, the sun is not out, which would make the turf about, I'd say, 15 to 20 degrees hotter. There goes Bastion, and as the ball gets by the catcher, Femley, Bastion will take third. And an unexpected, fruitful base running endeavor for Jaden Bastion. Had second easily, but as the ball bounced away from Femley, the first run now just a base away. The count 1-1 on Crosland. Here comes the pitch. That one in the turf gets away from Femley. Here comes the throw to the plate. In time for the out. So manager Sal Colangelo is going to get a confirmation from the home plate umpire. That one looked extremely close at the plate. Incredible hustle from Bastion, as that one didn't get too far away from Femley, but they're able to make the tag at home to keep this game scoreless. So a suddenly eventful top of the second there. We'll be back for the bottom half of the inning very shortly here on Big Train Baseball Network.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner, no. 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 Boogie down, mix up. Boogie down, fix up. The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up.
Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. As we enter the bottom of the second inning, still scoreless. The right fielder, Michael Lavagna, stepping up to the plate, facing Will Clemens, who had a heck of a first inning. Struck out a pair, and sandwiched in between that was a comebacker that he gloved very easily and smoothly, as that first pitch to Lavagna is a fastball in there for a strike.
Bastion just centimeters away from scoring the first run of the game. Made an ambitious run from third over to home. Unfortunately, the ball that got away from Fenley didn't get far enough away, so he was able to make the tag at home plate.
And so that second pitch is deja vu all over again, a fastball in there for strike two. So Michael Lavagna in a quick 0-2 hole. Clemens looking to keep the good times rolling. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Fouled off. As waiting on deck is the left fielder, Greg Marmo. A couple of DMV ball players. Actually, excuse me, the three due up for DC all from the DMV, as that one's fouled off into the trees behind us. So the count's still 0-2 on Lavagna. Here comes the pitch. In the turf, nice block by Vaughn. So the count will go to 1-2. But on deck is the left fielder Greg Marmo, playing his college ball at George Washington, and in the hole is Joey Wilga, currently playing his college ball at Richmond. Here comes the 1-2 from Clemens. A swinging bunt down the third base line, barehanded by Whitaker on to first, not in time. So a good charge by Whitaker, and way to get a bare hand on it. Unfortunately, the throw was offline. So the leadoff batter is aboard for the Grays. That'll bring up the left fielder, Greg Marmo.
So we mentioned a couple of times, this is the only turf field within the Cal Ripken League. It is very different from dirt in a lot of ways. We mentioned the heat earlier, but also the bounces are a lot more difficult to get a hand on. Doesn't get stuck in the as much as it would in the dirt.
As the first pitch is in the turf for a ball. Now, in some ways, fielding on turf is easier because you don't have to worry about any sudden bounces to your left or to your right, which has happened a good bit at Shirley Povich to both the Big Train and its opponents. As the 1-0 pitch is a fastball in there for a strike.
But you can see it causing some difficulty for catcher Femley as well as Vaughn. Both of them doing well to get behind them and block it, but those bounces go up a lot higher, so it's a little bit more difficult to get a handle over it than it is in the dirt field.
The 1-1 popped up out of play down the first base line and over the Big Train bullpen behind us, so the count now 1-2. But as we saw on the wild pitch that Bastion almost scored on, that pitch in the dirt was on a rocket ship towards the backstop, allowing Bastion to not only take second but third as well. Here comes the 1-2 pitch, and that one hits Marmo. So runners now on first and second with still no outs, as Joey Wilga steps up to the plate. An unfortunate sequence of events for Clemens.
So 2 runners on base, no outs yet. A scoreless game thus far.
As Clemens is going to call for a quick mound visit with the catcher Luke Vaughn.
Again, Vaughn made his appearance with his first appearance with Big Train on Sunday during their matchup with the Alexandria Aces. Made a huge impact early on, not only from behind the plate, but actually at the plate with his bat. Vaughn recorded an RBI as well as 3 walks. He's only struck out at the plate once.
So the mound visit has concluded. Wilga will dig in. Runners on first and second with no outs here in the bottom of the second. The first pitch swung on and missed on a pitch in the turf for strike 1. So a good start here for Clemens. Done a good job of mixing up his pitches thus far. The 0-1 swung on and missed for strike 2. So a couple of pitches in or near the turf. Swung on and missed by Wilga. Let's see if Clemens can retire him in 3 pitches. Waiting on deck is the third baseman, Brady Steiner. Here comes the 0-2. Swung on and missed for strike 3. So an efficient at-bat for Clemens. A big first out here for the Big Train. Bringing up the third baseman, Brady Steiner.
Now, we've only seen Clemens pitch sparingly for the Big Train this summer, but he is one of the tallest members of the Big Train bullpen, able to use his height to get a lot of speed behind his pitches, as we saw with that very efficient at-bat with Joey Wilga.
First pitch to Steiner, in there for strike 1. It's been a bevy of fastballs working for Clemens thus far, especially early in the count. Here comes the 0-1. That fastball's in there for strike 2. So brilliant early count work here from Clemens. Waiting on deck is the center fielder, Ellis Reed. Here comes the 0-2. Fouled off.
Looks like it might have knocked the home plate umpire in the mask a bit.
I believe that's the 3rd time we have seen that this season. although this time around will not require an umpire substitution.
Thankfully, the home plate umpire is all right. His mask protected him well.
So the count still 0-2 on Brady Steinert. Here comes the pitch. In there for strike 3. So Clemens painting the inside quarter on a heater, retiring Steinert for out number 2. That'll bring up the center fielder, Ellis Reed.
You can hear a chorus of approval coming from the Big Train dugout as Clemens quickly retires 2 batters with 2 of the Grays still aboard the bases.
That's 4 strikeouts now for Clemens. Looking to strand a pair here in the bottom of the second. The first pitch to Reed, a swing and a miss on the off speed for strike 1. Here comes the 0-1. That one, a check swing, but he went around. That one actually getting away from Vaughn. So both runners will advance into scoring position on the off speed and the turf. That's exactly what we're talking about. That one's skipping up onto Vaughn and getting away from him. Although Clemens can render that pitch null if he's able to strike out Reed here and end the inning.
Again, can hear chorus of encouragement coming from the Big Train dugout.
The 0-2 in there for strike 3. So Clemens strands a pair. He's already up to 5 strikeouts. A dominant second half of the inning. Still scoreless after 2 here in Largo, Maryland. We'll be right back here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. We're scoreless after 2 here at Prince George's Community College. It's going to be 8-9-1 due up for the Big Train here in the top of the 3rd. Leading it off is the second baseman, Jordan Crosland. As the first pitch from Save It Off is outside for a ball.
Crosland's first at-bat was cut short by a tag at home plate as Jaden Bastian attempted to make the run over from third off of a wild pitch.
As the count now 2-0 on Crosland. So this will technically go down as his first at-bat, as he was rudely interrupted by aggressive base running. Here comes the 2-0. That off speed outside for ball 3. So a good eye from Crosland, who's now ahead 3-0, and waiting on deck is the designated hitter, Jack Guerrero. Here comes the pitch. That one low for ball 4. So a smooth 4-pitch walk for Crosland, as that'll bring up the designated hitter, Jack Guerrero. Now, the last time Crosland found himself on first base, it was almost a successful failure as he stole second, but unfortunately overshot the bag and was tagged out. Let's see if that similar aggressiveness comes out here.
Again, just more difficulties with switching from a dirt field over to a turf field
As the first pitch to Guerrero's in there for a strike.
Having to read how far you're going to slide on this different surface, it can be difficult when you're used to playing on dirt fields and the rest of the Cal Ripken League is on a dirt field.
As Crosland sent back by Save-It-Off. Count still 0-1 on Guerrero. No outs here in the top of the third. Still scoreless here from PG Community College. There goes Crosland, and there will be no throw.
He read that slide very well, did not miss the base pad at all. Stopped perfectly in time for second base.
So the first run of the game, the potential first run of the game, now in scoring position. The count 1-1 on Guerrero. Here comes the pitch. That one swung on and missed for strike 2.
No, he mentioned the heat, but there's also the potential for storms in the area. Later tonight, you can see the cloud coverage starting to get darker. As well as the breeze starting to pick up.
Here comes the 1-2. That one fouled off straight over the Grays dugout. So the count still 1-2 on Guerrero with Keenan Bowman, the leadoff hitter, on deck.
We've often talked about the big train falling behind in the score early on.
The 1-2's outside for a ball.
And then having to play a game of catch up with this late inning spurts. Big train hoping to get aboard the scoreboard early on and take the lead and force their opponent to play catch up.
So the count 2-2 on Guerrero. Save-It-Off will step off the mound for a brief moment, then get back on. Here comes the 2-2. That one high for ball 3. So Guerrero working the count full. That's been a few times we've seen Save-It-Off sail a fastball high and outside.
Again, Crosland still safely aboard second base with the potential first run in scoring position.
The 3-2 pitch swung on and missed for strike 3. So a valiant effort by Guerrero at the plate, but Save-It-Off retires him with a swinging strikeout, and that'll bring the top of the order back up for the big train. It's Keenan Bowman, runner on second with 1 out.
Bowman also the shortstop for tonight. During his first at-bat, we saw him get a good hit off, but was gloved easily by the fielding squad of the DC Grays.
Crosland takes off for third. That first pitch high for a ball. The throw down to third is not in time. Crosland able to keep his left foot on the bag, just barely. But a couple of swipes here early for Crosland, putting the first run of the game just a base away.
And again, I bring up the point of the sliding on the turf. We mentioned it last time they played at PG Community College. Crosland had some difficulty sliding on the turf, went too far.
As that one's in there for a strike, the count 1-1.
Has obviously made quick adjustments to learn quickly. He's been doing very well, stealing the bases here tonight. Has now put the first potential run in scoring position at third.
The 1-1. That one swung on and missed for strike 2. Bowman out in front of that off speed. Now to your point, the turtle's been turned into a penguin a couple of times here. Here comes the 1-2. That one in there for strike 3. So Save-It-Off records his second strikeout of the inning. And that'll bring up Andrew Williamson.
Now batting number 29, Andrew Williamson.
Now Williamson leading the team in hits with 19. Also leads the lead in batting average. Entered tonight with a blistering hot .463 average.
He's been a huge addition to the big train lineup.
That first pitch is a fastball low for a ball.
Last week he was the Cal Ripken League Hitter of the Week. Has just been making such a huge impact from the plate. as well as the fielding. He's been the center fielder since his arrival in Bethesda.
So the count now 2-0 as Williamson's looked at 2 fastballs low. Here comes the 2-0. That one lined foul down the right field line. So the count will go to 2-1. Williamson also leads the team in RBIs with 13. Here comes the 2-1. That one hit high into right center field. And it's caught by Reed for out number 3. So the big train strand one at third. The game still scoreless as we head into the bottom of the third here on Big Train Baseball Network. We will be right back.
Keep watching you when you leave. Something new. Keep hoping you feel this too. Holding on and on and on and on. Hoping I can get to know you better. Living in sweet suburbia. Some fun is all we want. Two kids come alive in a night rush. I'll be the girl next door. You be my summer crush. Yeah, I think you should come and pick me up. 'Cause nothing feels as good as summer love. Move so fast.
Welcome back to Largo, Maryland, as we are still scoreless at Prince George's Community College. The bottom of the third getting set to kick off. It's going to be 9-1-2 for the Grays. The catcher, Charlie Femley,
Third inning for the Grays from the College of William and Mary. Catcher
leading things off. Already had an eventful start to the game behind the dish.
Agreed, and the big train has been threatening early. Previous 2 innings, we've seen runners stranded at third with the first potential run just a base pad away.
As the first pitch from Clemens is inside for a ball. Clemens, a dominant first couple of innings, already up to 5 strikeouts. Bounced back from letting 2 base runners on in a big way. As Femley is hit. That'll be Clemens' second HBP so far. And the leadoff runners aboard for the Grays with the leadoff hitter stepping up to the plate in Anthony Rocco.
number 9, Anthony Rocco.
Rocco was struck out during his first at-bat. Part of Clemens' 1-2-3 to kick off the bottom of the first inning.
First pitch to Rocco, swung on and missed for a strike.
Again, Clemens able to really lean on that fastball with his height advantage.
As the count's now 0-2 on Rocco.
There's a lot of strength and length behind those pitches.
Here comes the 0-2. Low for ball 1. So Rocco playing his college ball at Winthrop. Haven't made the tournament since 2006. Looking to spearhead a run there next season as the count now moves to 2-2. A couple of fastballs low, making this count even.
So Clemens paying no attention to Femley over on first.
The 2-2. Inside for ball 3. So the count now full on Rocco with the shortstop Matt Colella waiting on deck. Still no outs here in the bottom of the third. The 2-2. That one's grounded to Bowman at short, and he fires it over to first for out number 1. So that ground ball a little too shallow to try for a 6-4-3 double play, but Bowman getting it over to first for the out. That'll move Femley over to second as Matt Colella steps up to the plate with a runner in scoring position and 1 out.
Again, still a scoreless game here at Prince George's Community College. Both teams tied in the series, hoping to be the first to strike.
First pitch to Colella, painting the inside corner for a strike.
Again, Clemens been very dominant on the mound.
That off speed is low for ball 1.
The last time we saw him, he came in for relief versus the Gaithersburg Giants.
As you said earlier, the Giants and the Aces set to match up in a battle of the league's 2 best later this evening. That one's grounded to Crosland at second, and he gets it over to first for out number 2. Femley advances to third. So a couple of routine plays, bringing up the second baseman, James Lehman, with 2 outs and a runner on third.
So we've seen the big train in this situation a couple of times this game. Left a runner stranded at third, hoping to give the Grays a taste of their own medicine, and leave Femley stranded at third.
First pitch to Lehman, fouled off into the backstop. So as you said, Phoebe, the big train trying to reverse the trend of falling behind early. They've played 19 games thus far. They have fallen behind by 4 or more runs at some point in the first 4 innings, 10 of those games, with mixed results as Lehman pulls back on a bunt. Count will go to 1-1. But in a majority of their games, they've had a large deficit to make up.
That's one of the things I've loved about watching this team is their fighting spirit.
1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed for strike 2. It looked like Lehman wanted to hold up, but by the time his body reacted, it was too late. His bat was already over home plate. So Clemens a strike away from strikeout number 6, and also keeping this game scoreless through 3.
As you said, mixed results after falling behind, but you've seen them.
As that one's in there for strike 3. So Clemens retires Lehman looking for out number 3, his 6th strikeout, and we're just through 3 innings. Still scoreless here from PG Community College. We'll be back with the top of the 4th here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network as we're set to start the top of the 4th inning with the heart of the order. Due up for the Big Train, Luke Vaughn leading things off as he'll take the first pitch from Save It Off in the turf for a ball.
Vaughn, hailing from Alabama University. Again, just a huge impact.
As the count now 1-1 on Vaughn.
Got a base hit during his previous at-bat tonight. Has been excellent from behind the plate. We talked about the differences between turf and dirt. Saw a little bit of a bobble early in the game. Vaughn quickly correcting it.
As that one's way upstairs for ball 2.
And like Clemens is one of the taller members of the Big Train squad, so can reach a lot of ground from his position as catcher.
Here comes the 2-1. Another pitch off the home plate umpire's mask that also hit Vaughn. So a little carnage to start off the top of the 4th inning. Everybody's A-OK.
So Vaughn able to reach first base on his first 2 at-bats here tonight. Hoping to get one across the home plate to take the first lead of the game. Again, as I was saying during the bottom of the 3rd inning, one of my favorite things about watching this team this summer is their fighting spirit. You said mixed results after falling behind early on, but you see them fight to the very end to either come up with a victory or come very, very close.
So that'll bring up Emilio Gonzalez with a runner on first and no one out. Here comes the first pitch. That one in the turf for ball 1. Now, especially in these last few games, the Big Train have had a flair for the dramatic as each of their past 5 games have been decided by 2 runs or fewer. Here comes the 1-0. That one swung on and missed for strike 1.
It was Saturday night when we saw the Big Train go into extra innings for the first time all season, recording a walk-off win.
On a wild pitch, just like they drew up, as Vaughn will be sent back to first by Save It Off. It was Jaden Bastion at the plate with bases loaded. And the pitch from VCU's Andrew Powers getting away from the catcher Ethan Warner, allowing Chris Diaz to score from third. As the 1-1 pitch, low for ball 2. That was a pretty epic birthday present for manager Sal Colangelo. And the Big Train's first walk-off of the year. Here comes the 2-1. That one fouled back over the fence and into the rolling green hills behind us here at Prince George's Community College. As our assistant general manager, Patrick Chapman, is off. My goodness, what speed and valor from our AGM as that one's fouled down the first base line. And now he can't find the baseball. So the count 2-2 on Gonzalez. Luke Vaughn still at first with no outs here in the top of the 4th inning. The 2-2. That one way upstairs, getting past the glove of Femley. And Vaughn is able to take second easily. I'm not sure 2 Charlie Femleys stacked on top of each other could have gotten a glove on that one.
I think you mentioned it on our last broadcast over at the Alexandria Aces field. That one, not upstairs, but in the attic.
So the count now 3-2 on Gonzalez as our AGM Patrick Chapman has come back to the bleachers defeated and unsuccessful. As Gonzalez fouls that one off. That one into the trees. I think Patrick should be able to find that one, although he looked at that one for a half second and is walking back to his seat here behind the plate. And waiting on deck is the third baseman, Davin Whitaker. Gonzalez fouls another one off.
Doing well to extend his at-bat here, continuing to face the 2-2 count. Again, Big Train's got a runner in scoring position at second. With a scoreless game, the lead is anyone's for the taking, and with no outs on the board yet for the Big Train. Set in a good position to do so.
Here comes the 3-2. Another foul ball. Right over the backstop. A valiant fight here from Gonzalez. The Big Train dugout fired up. As it also looks like someone from the Grays collected the foul ball that our AGM, Patrick Chapman, could not find. Another 3-2 pitch. Another foul ball. Boy, if we were playing cricket, Emilio Gonzalez would be a superstar here.
Again, that fighting spirit, staying alive at the plate.
It'd be sixes all over the place here at Largo. Another full count pitch. That one's grounded up the middle, fielded by Colella at short, and on to first for the out. But an impressive effort from Gonzalez to really drive up Savidoff's pitch count. That also moved Vaughn over to third with just one out for Davin Whitaker.
So again, we've seen twice now in this game, Big Train leave a runner stranded at third. Whitaker hoping to change that here with Vaughn in scoring position.
The first pitch to Whitaker's in there for a strike.
Big Train donning their black jerseys and black socks tonight. Not helping with the heat that's intensified from the turf field.
The 0-1 to Whitaker. That one lined into left field. Ranging back is Marmo, and he makes the catch for out number 2. Tagging up is Vaughn. He'll score without a throw, and the Big Train strike first here in the top of the 4th inning.
Excellent work from the Big Train squad. Whitaker effectively changing the pattern of leaving a runner on third in this game. Big Train has taken the first lead, and now they have Chris Diaz at the plate, who last time Big Train was at PG Community College scored the only home run.
As the first pitch from Savidoff's in there for a strike. That sac fly from Whitaker now ties him with Williamson for the team lead in RBIs with 13. As Diaz looks at that pitch low and outside for a ball. So the count 1-1 on Diaz with 2 outs. The Big Train have drawn first blood here against the Grays. As that one just upstairs for ball 2. Great eye by Diaz to lay that one off.
Where now we're into this ball game, the dark cloud coverage has cleared.
Diaz pops this one into shallow left field, and it's caught for out number 3 by Greg Marmo. But Davin Whitaker and Luke Vaughn tag teaming for the first run of this game. The Big Train leading 1-0. We'll be back for the bottom of the 4th here on Big Train Baseball Network.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. Meet me in the corner alone. Meet me in the corner alone. Meet me in the corner alone.
Welcome.
Bottom of the fourth inning for the Grays, number 16.
Welcome back to Prince George's Community College here in Largo, Maryland, where the Big Train have taken a 1-0 lead over the Grays as we're set to start the bottom of the fourth inning. And on the bump for the Big Train, it's a new pitcher going elder to youngster in Ariston Veazey, taking over for Will Clemens.
Actually, I believe Ariston Veazey made his very first appearance with the Big Train the last time they were at PG Community College through some very success.
The first pitch from Veazey in there for a strike. And it's going to be 4-5-6 for the Grays, as that one swung on and missed for strike 2 by Michael Lavagna.
Lavagna got a base hit during his first at-bat tonight, with the Grays now trailing by 1 run, hoping to make some commotion around the base pads.
The 0-2 to Lavagna, and off speed, just outside for ball 1. But a really nice pitch there from Veazey. Now the Big Train will hope to follow the same pitching trend they did the last time they were here. Peyton Prescott, an awesome start, as that one's popped high into foul territory and right, and it's caught by Gonzalez in foul territory for out number 1. So the first out recorded by Gonzalez,
Now batting number 51.
and that'll bring up the left fielder Greg Marmo.
Marmo reached first during his previous at-bat due to a hit by pitch. The third hit, one of the 3 hit by pitches we've seen so far this evening.
As that one's upstairs for ball 1. That fastball getting away from Veazey. But as I was saying, Peyton Prescott dominated in a starting role. Only pitched 2 innings, but both of them allowing no earned. As that fastball just missed for ball 2. Now let's see if the Alabama connection from the mound to the plate can spur some more good pitching. As the 2-0 is swung on and missed for strike 1. So a trio of heaters from Veazey. That one getting Marmo swinging and missing.
Marmo took a lap around the base before returning to the batter's box.
As the 2-1 pitch and off speed just missed for ball 3. And waiting on deck is the first baseman, Joey Wilga. Here comes the pitch. That one swung on and missed for strike 2.
So the count moves full on Marmo. Again, 1 out on the board for the Grays. No one on the base pads.
Here comes the pitch. Strike 3 called. Marmo thought that was ball 4, but my oh my, that fastball's tide is rolling. So Marmo's retired. 2 outs on the board, no one on base for the first baseman, Joey Wilga.
Wilga donning his Richmond Spiders bucket as he steps up to the plate.
First pitch to Wilga. Another fastball in there for a strike. Veazey threw that one so fast his hat came off. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. That's an off speed in the turf. Did he go around? No. That off speed bounced well before the plate, but Wilga, who was set down on a handful of swings and misses last at bat, went for that one, but held up just in time as the 1-1 pitch is a fastball low That'll make the count 2-1. Apologies if it sounds like we just got swept up by a tornado.
It's just a strong breeze moving through PG Community College.
The 2-1 pitch, off speed, low in the turf for ball 3. And waiting on deck is the third baseman, Brady Steinert. As that one's popped into foul territory down the first base line. Now, to quote Brick Tamland from Anchorman, it's really windy.
Very windy, as we mentioned. Storms predicted to move through the DMV area later tonight.
Here comes the pitch. That fastball outside for ball 4. So Wilga will take his base. That'll bring up the third baseman, Brady Steinert.
Now we saw some excellent 2-out hitting from the Aces and the Big Train on Sunday. Big Train hoping to maintain their current 1-run lead, retire the current hitter at bat, and leave them stranded on the base pads.
Here comes the first pitch. That one in there for strike 1. Now I wonder if Ariston Veazey intentionally wears a smaller hat like the great Willie Mays used to in order for it to fall off for aesthetic purposes, as he'll send Wilga, back to first base. But Willie Mays would say he wore a hat that was slightly too small, so when he was flying around the base paths, it would come off intentionally.
For that dramatic effect.
The 0-1, that one fouled off for strike 2.
So Veazey was with Alabama this past spring season. Has done 1 semester in college. Across from him, another Bama player in Luke Vaughn.
The 0-2, an off-speed low for ball 1. So the count 1-2 on Steinert. Veazey will send Wilga back to first again. The 1-2 pitch in the turf. Good block by Vaughn to keep that one in front. So that'll bring the count to 2-2.
Wilga remaining at first base.
Veazey looking to keep this game at 1-0. The pitch outside for ball 3. So the count now full on Steinert. Waiting on deck is the 8-hitter, the center fielder, Ellis Reed. The pitch. That one's popped into foul territory down the right field line. Just missing a pickup truck.
So Steinert staying alive to face the full count yet again. Wilga remaining at first.
Now, fortunately, no pickup trucks were harmed in the making of that pitch. Let's hope it can stay that way for all cars involved. As another 3-2 pitch is grounded sharply to Crosland. He fields it cleanly and gets it over to first for out number 3. So Veazey keeps him scoreless. No runs, no hits, 1 left on base for the Grays, as they still trail 1-0. We'll be back for the top of the 5th shortly here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. Bethesda still leading 1-0 as we head into the top of the 5th inning. Corey Savidoff still on the mound as he'll face the bottom of the Big Train order, starting with Jaden Bastion, as that first pitch evades the glove of Femley. That one high and sailing into the backstop for ball 1. Now we enter this inning to the sweet sounds of Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker. And speaking of Tennessee, which he does make mention of in the song, champions of college baseball for the first time, winning it a couple of days ago over Texas A&M, as the count now 2-0 on Bastion. Tennessee becoming the first #1 seed in the college tournament to win, as that 2-0 pitch is in there for a strike. Tennessee, the first top seed to take home the trophy in Omaha since the Miami Hurricanes in 1999. As the 2-1 pitch is in the turf for ball 3. Waiting on deck is the second baseman, Jordan Crosland.
Bastion, during his first at-bat, got a base hit, created some loud movement across the base pad, stealing second and third.
As Bastion will take ball 4. So the leadoff hitter is aboard for the Big Train. That'll bring up Jordan Crosland. Now again, a big congrats to Tony Vitello's crew on a dominant season that, for the first time in volunteer baseball history, ended with a championship. Avenging these past couple of years, which has included another achievement of the top seed, as the first pitch to Crosland's in the turf for a ball. That was a couple of years ago, unfortunately for the Volunteers then. They fell in super regionals to Notre Dame, but this time around getting over that hump and eventually knocking off the #3 seeded Texas A&M Aggies in the championship. Bastion being sent back to first. Count still 1-0 on Crosland.
Crosland walked during his previous at-bat. Big Train already with a 1-0 lead, hoping to cushion that even further.
Bastion being sent back to first again, unsuccessfully.
Again, sun has come out here at PG Community College, but the breeze is picking up.
The count now 2-0 on Crosland, as we're going to have a mound visit between Femley and Savidoff. The Big Train leading 1-0 here in the top of the 5th inning. This game following the same pattern it did the last time Bethesda was here. Again, that ended up being a 2-1 victory for the Grays. The Big Train looking to come out on top this time around and move to 10-10 amidst a crowded middle of the standings in the CRS CBL, as we're a little over halfway through the regular season. Bastion sent back to first again.
Generating a lot of attention from Savidoff on the mound. And you can see why we watched Bastion steal second and then third off of a wild pitch during his earlier at-bats.
As Crosland will look at that one for a strike. So the count 2-1 on Crosland. Bastion looking antsy on first, as he'll be sent back again. So Savidoff on pickoffs. This at bat now 0 for 4. Calling the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Make it 0 for 5. The count still 2-1 on Crosland. Here's the pitch. That one low for ball 3. Waiting on deck is Jack Guerrero.
Guerrero, the designated hitter for tonight. Was absent from the lineup on Sunday.
Mamma mia, there he goes again. The throw down to second is not in time. So Bastian swipes second. He's been everywhere on the base paths. The count now 3-2 on Crosland. Potential run number 2 being represented by number 2. On base number 2. The full count pitch lined up the middle, base hit. Bastian around third will head home. The throw from Reed is not in time. So Crosland singles home Bastian from second. And the Big Train now lead 2-0.
Again, Bastian, so speedy around the base paths. That's why he was garnering so much attention from pitcher Savinoff on the mound. Dangerous across the base paths. And he's now extended the Big Train's lead 2-0.
So Jack Guerrero will step up to the plate. There goes Crosland. That one's lined into center field for a base hit. Crosland around second. He'll go to third. He will stop right there. Guerrero will go to second on the overthrow. And so now there are 2 runners in scoring position for the Big Train. An untimely missed cutoff by Reed there in center field.
Now, we talked about the last time these two teams met over at Shirley Povich Field. Big Train taking the win 6-2. It was mostly on errors in the field from the Grays. Starting to see those come into play again here tonight.
So that'll bring the top of the lineup back up to the plate. It's Keenan Bowman with runners on second and third. Here comes the pitch. That one in there for a strike. Still no outs here in the top of the 5th inning. The 0-1 to Bowman. That one's fouled off the roof of the storage unit down the first base line. And so that'll make the count 0-2. Here comes the pitch. Just outside for ball 1.
Bowman doing well to read that and not swing at the bait.
And waiting on deck is the center fielder, Andrew Williamson. Hoping to come up with 1, possibly 2 more runs on the board as Bowman will foul that one back. So the count's still 1-2. Are the Oklahoma City Thunder in our dugout? Why is there barking?
Can hear a lot of ruckus coming from the Big Train dugout. They're fired up already with a 2-0 lead. Runners on the corners, no outs on the board for Keenan Bowman and Andrew Williamson set to take the plate.
Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Off speed, outside for ball 2. So an eagle eye here from the Pirate. So the count now even on Bowman. Here comes the pitch. That one's lined up the middle, base hit. Crosland will score from third. Here comes Guerrero from second. It's a 2 RBI single from Keenan Bowman. It's 4-0 Big Train.
Excellent piece of hitting from Bowman. We saw him earn his way to third in the lineup, now top of the order, and you can see why. Excellent piece of hitting. Bringing in 2 runs off of second and third to extend the Big Train's lead to 4-0.
And so we'll have a mound visit here with Savinoff. Giving up a 3 spot here in the top of the 5th, as the Big Train have already quadrupled their run output from the last time they were here. And it looks like we're going to have a pitching change, and that'll take us to a quick commercial break here on Big Train Baseball Network, with Bethesda leading 4-0 here in the top of the 5th. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. Bethesda leading 4-0. As we'll have a pitching change here for the Grays. It's going to be Will Stambaugh relieving Corey Savidoff as his first pitch to Williamson is low for a ball. Williamson showing bunt but pulling back.
Stambaugh, rising junior at Lock Haven University, hails from Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. Worked 43.1 innings for Lock Haven.
As that pitch is in there for a strike, moving the count to 1-1.
Allowed 57 hits, 43 runs, struck out 28 for a 5.82 ERA.
Williamson with a high fly ball into left field. Back goes Marmo, and he'll make the catch at the warning track for out number 1. Bowman will retreat back to first as Luke Vaughn steps up to the plate.
Again, Big Train, runners on the corners. Sorry, just one runner on first. Put up a 3-spot thanks to the bat of Bowman. A base hit bringing Crosland and Guerrero off the base pads. Luke Vaughn has gotten on base during his previous 2 at-bats, one a base hit, the other a hit by pitch.
As Bowman is sent back to first. First pitch to Luke Vaughn, swung on and missed for strike 1. Vaughn out in front of that one on the off speed from Stambaugh.
Again, we talked about the Big Train hoping to take the lead early and be the first to strike, and they've certainly done so.
The 0-1 and off speed just missing. That'll bring the count to 1-1.
Have already put up a 3-spot in the top of the 5th to extend their lead 4-0. Only one out on the board, still a runner on first, have the chance to extend it even further and make things extra difficult for the Grays.
As the 1-1 pitch just outside for ball 2. The Big Train entering the heart of their order here. Waiting on deck is the cleanup hitter Emilio Gonzalez. As the 2-1 pitch is in there for a strike. As Bowman sent back to first.
Bowman making pitcher Steinbaugh very nervous over at first base.
So the count's still 2-2 on Vaughn, 1 out here in the top of the 5th. Here comes the pitch. That one lined under the glove of Steinert into left field for a base hit. So that'll put runners on first and second with 1 out for Emilio Gonzalez.
Vaughn extending his pattern of reaching first on every at-bat. Now has 2 base hits and 1 hit by pitch in his 3 at-bats tonight.
So Steinert's had a couple of layout attempts in the turf, but both have proven unsuccessful. The first pitch to Gonzalez, low for ball 1. Again, Gonzalez last game in Alexandria, 6 RBIs, which included a no doubt 3-run shot, which was his first of the summer. As the 1-0 pitch, that one's grounded up the middle for a base hit. Bowman rounding third, he's headed for home. The throw from Reed is cut off. And Emilio Gonzalez has an RBI single. The Big Train now lead 5-0.
Some more excellent hitting from Emilio Gonzalez, as you mentioned. Had 6 RBIs. In Alexandria, he recorded a home run to push the Big Train very, very close to success. Their contest with the Aces was a handoff of the lead back and forth. Aces ultimately got the best of them in the bottom of the 8th inning.
The first pitch to Whitaker fouled off. So the big train really working the middle part of the field. That's where a lot of them have had success throughout this entire season. Here comes the 0-1. That one in the turf for a ball. Whitaker's last at bat hit a sacrifice fly that brought home Jaden Bastion for the first run of the game.
With now 2 runners on the base pads hoping for some similar success.
That one's lined over the glove of Lehman at second into right center field. Here comes Vaughn around third. He will score. And it's another RBI single for the big train, who now leads 6-0.
Again, the last time these two teams met, Big Train won the game 6-2. With now a 6-0 lead and top of the 5th still going.
Lehman taking flight like Jake in the NBA that shares his last name, but unfortunately couldn't quite get there. As Whitaker now ties Williamson again for the team lead in RBIs, as Christopher Diaz will take the first pitch from Stambaugh high and inside for a ball.
Again, runners aboard first and second with only 1 out on the board for the Big Train.
The 1-0 to Diaz, that one's low. The throw back down to first, not in time. So the count now 2-0 on Diaz. The 2-0 offering. That one in there for a strike. The 2-1 to Diaz, in there for strike 2. So Stambaugh battling back as Jaden Bastion waits on deck. The 2-2 pitch, that one in the turf for ball 3.
So with the count moving full on Diaz, Big Train only has 1 out on the board, 2 runners on bases, hoping to extend their already hefty lead over the DC Grays.
The 2-2 pitch, off speed, hit high and deep into right field. Back at the wall, it is off the wall. Gonzalez will hold up at third. So that's one of the longest singles you will ever see from Christopher Diaz. So the base is now loaded for Jaden Bastion.
And Bastion was walked during his previous at-bat, started off the evening with a base hit.
So Gonzalez on third, Whitaker on second, Diaz on first. The first pitch to Bastion is low and inside for a ball. Here comes the 1-0. That one's fouled. Looked like it might have nicked Bastion, so that'll bring the count to 1-1. A huge opportunity to balloon this lead even further as the 1-1 pitch in there for strike 2. The 1-2 to Bastion. That one hit high and deep into left field. Back goes Marmo at the warning track. He's under it. He'll make the catch for out number 2. Tagging is Gonzalez. The throw is cut off. So it's a sacrifice fly for Jaden Bastion. The Big Train taking a 7-0 lead. As Jordan Crosland will step up to the plate with runners on first and second and 2 gone.
Now batting number 1, Jordan Crossland.
So the Big Train has already extended their last performance with the DC Grays again. Last time they met, June 16th, at Shirley Povich Field, walked away with the 6-2 win, now leading 7-0.
First pitch to Crosland's line into right field. That'll drop for a base hit. Whitaker speeding around third, will head for home. The throw to the plate is not in time. So Davin Whitaker scores from second on the base hit from Crosland. The throw from Lavagna in right, being beat out by the Pirate at home. And now the Big Train lead it 7-0. Also another note, we have officially batted around here in the Big Train order. As Crosland takes off, it'll have to retreat back to first as Jack Guerrero fouled off the first pitch. Diaz on third, Crosland on first. Looking eager to take second. There he goes again. Guerrero swings and misses, but Femley will hold up on the throw.
Again, Crosland making great changes from the last time he played at PG Community College, sliding so easily into that second base, not overshooting it, becoming well adjusted to the turf field.
Guerrero chops that one foul down the first base line.
Again, Big Train leading 8-0 with 2 runners in scoring position, 2 outs on the board.
The 0-2 to Guerrero, outside for a ball.
We've talked about the Big Train's late inning magic. Normally it's when they're coming from behind, but decided to pull it out anyway, with already a 7 spot in the top of the 5th.
1-2 pitch is grounded through the whole base hit. Diaz will score. Here comes Crosland around third. He will score. And the Big Train have now hit double digits, courtesy of Jack Guerrero. An RBI single past a diving Lehman at second.
Now batting number 9, Keenan Bowman.
Again, the mercy rule within the Cal Ripken League is 12 runs. Big Train currently leading 10-0.
The first pitch to Bowman's in there for a strike. But what's interesting about this onslaught here in the top of the 5th, barely any extra base hits. It's been a lot of singles and walks and stolen bases. The count now 1-1 on Bowman. The 1-1 from Stamball. That one's grounded past a diving Steinert into left field for another base hit.
Bowman's second base hit of the night, putting 2 aboard the base pads.
So the road squad turning into the Bethesda Freight Train as they've now got runners on first and second with Andrew Williamson stepping up to the plate. First pitch to Williamson. That one's fouled off for strike 1. But my, oh my, how needed was this kind of, not necessarily early inning onslaught, but not necessarily in the late inning for the Big Train as they've built themselves a sleep number size cushion as Williamson lifts this one high and deep into left center field. And it'll drop and roll all the way to the wall. Guerrero scores. Here comes Bowman around third. He will score. And Andrew Williamson adds another RBI double to his collection. This one actually scoring 2, and it's 12-0 Big Train.
The offense just lighting up the scoreboard here tonight. Big Train has come back in a huge way. We've seen some ups and downs throughout the season, but this is the play that they're capable of. They have such a strong offense. It's coming alive here today. The bats are extra hot, maybe to go along with the steamy turf field they're playing on.
We've seen Williamson not only hit so many RBI doubles, but seemingly to that exact same spot in left center field, as Luke Vaughn will take that pitch outside for a ball. Here comes the pitch. That one in there for a strike.
Again, Vaughn has had 3 at-bats so far this evening, has gotten on first during each one. 2 base hits, 1 hit by pitch.
So the count 1-1 on Vaughn. Here comes the pitch. That one low for a ball.
And we saw the Big Train work the 2-out hitting during their previous game on Sunday with the Alexandria Aces, coming up with some more 2-out hitting magic here today.
The 2-1 just in there for strike 2. So the count now even with 2 outs. Williamson on second. Here comes the pitch. That one lined into center field, but under it is Ellis Reed for out number 3. But my, oh my, what a half inning here from the Big Train. An 11 spot. They lead by a dozen. We'll be back for the bottom half of the 5th inning here on Big Train Baseball Network.
Ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train. Ride that boogie train. Ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you groove. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Say hey baby, I love the way you boogie down. Hey baby, I love the way you move. Boogie down. The juice in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train, ride that boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the corner alone. 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 Meet me in the corner alone.
Welcome back to Prince George's Community College here in Largo, Maryland. The Big Train have blown this game open. They lead it 12-0 as we're set to start the bottom of the 5th. Ariston Veazey still on the mound as his first offering to Ellis Reed is low for a ball. Now just a friendly reminder that the mercy rule here in the Ripken League is at least a 12-run lead through 7 innings, as Reed will foul this one down the third base line. So if this score holds serve, everyone here will be getting out a little early here on what has turned into a pretty nice Wednesday evening. As Reed sends this one high and deep into left field, ranging over his bastion. He can't get there. That one skips off the wall. Reed will slide into second safely, and the Grays have the leadoff runner in scoring position, courtesy of Ellis Reed.
Now the Grays hoping to bite back at this 12-0 score deficit they found themselves in. Again, Big Train needs a 12-run lead through 7 innings to cut the game short with a mercy rule. Now, we've talked about the late inning magic from the Big Train. Not even needing to make a comeback, they decided to put up an 11 spot in the top of the 5th to make things exceedingly difficult for the DC Grays, looking to take the lead in the series.
The first pitch to Femley is upstairs for a ball. Now we do have a little action in the Big Train bullpen behind us. Jack Robinson currently warming up. Here comes the 1-0. That fastball's in there for a strike. And for what feels like the 18th time in the outing, Ariston Veazey's hat has fallen off.
Getting a lot of movement on the ball, causing him to lose his hat quite a few times.
As he'll send Reed back to second. Might be the mullet.
The mullet making things difficult for him.
To be quite honest with you. Has a luscious head of hair on him. Here comes the 1-1. That one fouled off into the backstop for strike 2. So Femley, the 9-hitter, looking to set up the top of the lineup well here for the Grays as they try to claw back from a monumental deficit. Here comes the 1-2 pitch, and off speed. Swung on and missed for strike 3. So Femley sent down swinging for out number 1. That'll bring up the designated hitter, Anthony Rocco.
Again, the Grays have been held scoreless through the first 4 innings, with now a 12-run deficit, hoping to create some action across the base pads.
First pitch is fouled off. Rocco tried to check his swing. But you got to think with the amount of zip Veazey has on his fastball this early in his career.
That's right, Veazey, one of the youngest members of the Big Train squad, has done just 1 semester at Alabama.
You got to wonder where the ceiling is as the count moves to 1-1.
Veazey losing his hat yet again.
Here comes the 1-1. That one hit Rocco, and he'll go down to first.
Looks like it caught him just in the elbow there. Looks to be A-okay.
And that was one of Veazey's extra fast fastballs. Looked like it might have got him around the wrist area, but for now, Rocco looks okay as he'll take his base with the shortstop, Matt Colella, stepping up to the plate with runners on first and second. Just 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning from a beautiful turf complex here at Prince George's Community College in Largo, Maryland.
Now, we haven't seen a ton of double-digit games for the Big Train this summer, but they're making quite some action around the base pads early on.
We saw a few to start the season, and we've seen a handful in recent games, but not like this. As the first pitch is swung on and missed by Colella, that one actually being fouled back into Luke Vaughn's mitt for strike 1. Here comes the 0-1, the off-speed low for a ball. Now, I was doing some Googling earlier today and actually found out that Prince George's Community College has one notable alumni in the sports world. It actually pertains to something big that's happening later tonight. That one's popped up high under Davin Whitaker. It'll actually be the shortstop, Landon Franklin, making the catch for out number 2.
That's right.
So, yeah, a defensive substitution here for the Big Train. Landon Franklin stepping in for Keenan Bowman at shortstop.
It's funny, I just saw Bowman stepping out of the dugout. Had to turn my attention back to the field to see who was in shortstop.
So it'll be the Kentucky Wildcat at short. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. The first pitch upstairs for ball 1 to James Lehman. But that alumni is actually Troy Weaver, current NBA executive, former general manager of the Detroit Pistons, who will look to hopefully find a cornerstone of their future, as that one's in there for a strike to make the count 1-1 in tonight's NBA draft. Set to start at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. The Atlanta Hawks holding the first pick, and the hometown Washington Wizards holding the second overall pick. One pitch. Lehman pulled back on the bunt. Smart decision, as that fastball from Veazey was low. So the count 2-1 on Lehman. Runners on first and second with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. The Big Train still leading 12-0. The 2-1 pitch. Fastball in there for a strike.
So Veazey, a strike away from leaving 2 stranded on the base pads and holding the Grays scoreless through 5 innings.
The 2-2 from Veazey. Upstairs for ball 3. I think he might need a bigger hat.
Maybe a chin strap.
It looked like a 1910s football player. That'd be a sight. Here comes the pitch from Veazey. That one swung on and missed for strike 3. So the Grays strand a pair. The Big Train still leading by a dozen. We'll be back with the top of the 6th and perhaps a new hat for Ariston Veazey. Back here on Big Train Baseball Network.
The juice is in the mix, it'll fix you up. I'm gonna ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train, ride the boogie train till the sun comes up. Meet me in the
Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. Bethesda still ahead 12-0, as we've got a new pitcher on the bump for the Grays. It'll be Jai Kapoor, who's transferring from actually right here, Prince George's Community College, as the first pitch to Emilio Gonzalez is fouled off out of play down the third base line.
Kapoor a product of Silver Spring, Maryland. Played at Paint Branch High School. Has also played for the Mitchell Marlins.
The 0-1 to Gonzalez. Off speed, got away from him. So the count will go to 1-1.
So again, an 11 spot in the top of the 5th inning has given the Big Train an extensive lead here.
The 1-1 pitch swung on and missed for strike 2.
Should they hold the score at 12-0 till the bottom of the 7th inning, this game will be cut short at 7 innings. And the Big Train will take the lead in the series with the DC Grays. Will also bring them to 500 in their record at 10-10.
1-2 pitches upstairs for a ball. Waiting on deck is the third baseman, Davin Whitaker. As we're going to get a quick time here, Gonzalez trying to dig something out of his eye, perhaps a mosquito.
The mosquitoes and gnats have been horrendous this summer. The summer heat not deterring them one bit.
You're talking about the animals, not the professional baseball team.
I said the gnats and the mosquitoes, yeah.
Ah. I heard that might be one of the newer expansion franchises they're thinking about. Throw them in Charlotte? Maybe even Nashville, although I don't think either of those two cities have very many mosquitoes at all. As Gonzalez will go down looking. So he's set down on strikes for the first time this evening. That'll bring up Davin Whitaker with 1 out and no one on here in the top of the 6th. The Big Train leading by a dozen.
Again, Whitaker having an exceptional night here tonight. A sacrificial fly brought in the first run.
First pitch to Whitaker, high for a ball.
And then a base hit helped contribute to the 11th spot in the top of the 5th inning.
Here comes the 1-0. That one fouled back near the merchandise table that I cannot see. Hope all the merchandise is okay. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Off speed outside for ball 2. Now Kapoor works primarily with a fastball and a curveball. Registered a 6.2 ERA last season for Prince George's Community College as Whitaker fouls that one off over the fence down the third base line. So the count now 2-2 with 1 out on Davin Whitaker. Here comes the pitch from Kapoor. Off speed, grounded foul down the first base line.
Again, throughout the Cal Ripken League, it's bottom of the 1st between the Giants and the Aces. Aces leading 3-0. T-Bolts and Braves set to start in 2 minutes, and the Crop Dusters and Senators matchup has been rescheduled due to the heat.
So the count now 3-2 on Whitaker. Whitaker looked at the last pitch high for a ball. Here it comes, and that one's in the turf for ball 4. So Whitaker will take his base, and with a runner on first and 1 out, Christopher Diaz will step up to the plate.
Again, Diaz walked in the final run just a few days ago when the Big Train recorded their first walk-off win of the season. A birthday present to manager Sal Colangelo.
As Diaz lines the first pitch foul down the left field line. So the batter at the plate and the batter on deck, both heavily involved in that game-winning run. Bastion doing a lovely job of getting out of the way in time for a beelining Diaz to slide safely into home. As that pitch from Kapoor's outside for a ball. Now, just like in the Wild, the Dolphin properly looking out for the wave.
Speaking of Florida, Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup over the Edmonton Oilers.
Fouled off for strike 2. That one the first in Florida's 3-decade-long franchise history. It was a valiant comeback from Edmonton, but unfortunately could not muster up enough offense as they fell in Game 7, 2-1, as the count now moves to 2-2 on Diaz.
It was also the first Stanley Cup for Panthers head coach Paul Morris. An exciting night for Morris as well as the Panthers.
The 2-2 pitch, that one's lined through the hole into right field for a base hit. Whitaker will hold up at second. So Diaz is aboard with a single. That'll bring up Jaden Bastian with 2 runners on and 1 out.
So back-to-back base hits for Christopher Diaz. Now with 2 runners on base, only 1 out on the board. Big Train has the potential to extend their already dominant lead.
First pitch to Bastian, low for a ball. The 1-0 in the turf for ball 2. So the count 2-0 on Bastian. Runners on first and second with 1 out. Big Train lead 12-0 as that one's in there for strike 1.
Again, can hear some raucous yells of encouragement from the Big Train dugout. Bastian has recorded a base hit, a walk, and a sacrificial fly here tonight.
The count now 3-1 on Bastian as he looks at that pitch inside. Waiting on deck is the second baseman, Crosland. Already has a couple of base hits today. He's been on a tear as of late. The 3-1 to Bastian, swung on and missed for strike 2. The pitch swung on and missed for strike 3. So Bastian goes down swinging. That'll put 2 outs on the board for Jordan Crosland. Runners on first and second for the Big Train, who lead 12-0 here in the top of the 6th inning.
Again, the Big Train have already handed the Grays a tall task should they hope for a comeback, but Crosland hoping to bring in a couple more to make it even more difficult for their opponents.
First pitch to Crosland. Inside for ball 1. The 1-0 to Crosland. Off speed in the dirt. Can't be backhanded by Femley, but both runners stay. So the count now 2-0 on Crosland.
Again, Whitaker on second, Diaz on first, representing potential runs 13 and 14.
The 2-0. That one fouled back near the Grays dugout. So the count now 2-1 on one of the fastest turtles in the land. Here comes the 2-1. That one's in there for a strike. Count now 2-2 on Crosland with 2 outs. Waiting on deck is Jack Guerrero.
Guerrero has recorded back-to-back base hits.
Crosland that fouls that one back over our heads and into the rolling green hills behind us here at PG Community College.
Guerrero, the designated hitter for your Big Train tonight, already made quite the impact here at PG Community College.
Another pitch, swung on and missed for strike 3. So Crosland goes down swinging on the off speed. The Big Train strand a pair, but they still lead by a dozen. We'll be back for the bottom of the 6th here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. Bethesda still leading 12-0 as we start the bottom of the 6th inning with a foul ball from right fielder Michael Lavagna. Ariston Veazey still on the mound.
Again, we mentioned seeing some action in the Big Train bullpen behind us. Sticking with Veazey and Clemens have held the Grays scoreless for 5 innings now.
Count's going to be 1-1.
Again, the dark clouds have dissipated as things are looking awfully bright for the Big Train here at Prince George's Community College.
And another blistering fastball going by the bat of Lavagna, so the count now 1-2. Here comes the pitch. That one fouled off into the trees over our heads. The foliage behind us seeing an awful lot of action today. Count still 1-2 on Lavagna. Here comes the pitch. Off speed check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. So a sweet off speed from Veazey retires Lavagna on strikes. That'll bring up the left fielder Greg Marmo.
Marmo was hit by a pitch during his first at-bat, was left looking at the plate during his second at-bat.
First pitch low in the turf for a ball. Here comes the 1-0. Painting the inside corner for strike 1. We might need to paint a hat onto Ariston Veazey.
Starting to wonder if that's part of his pitching ritual. Throwing it hard enough to knock your hat off your head and then pick it back up.
That 1-1 pitch just missing for ball 2.
Can you see such a great frame from catcher Luke Vaughn?
Here comes the 2-1. Off speed in the turf for ball 3. Waiting on deck is the first baseman Joey Wilga.
Again, Ariston Veazey came in for relief for Will Clemens during the previous inning, held him scoreless and left 2 stranded.
As the 3-1 pitch is low for ball 4. So the George Washington product taking an escort over to first base, as that'll bring up the first baseman, Joey Wilga.
Another defensive substitution for the big train. Jackson Giacconi now on first base for Emilio Gonzalez.
First pitch from Veazey, just low for a ball. Gonzalez recording an RBI earlier. Another productive outing at the plate and in the field as well, making a nice grab in foul territory to record an out a couple of innings ago, as Veazey's going to send Marmo back to first. Count still 1-0 on Joey Wilga. The 1-0 fouled off.
Can hear some distant sirens from a fire truck in the background. Might need to come here to put out the fire that has been the Bethesda big train tonight.
Veazey in off speed in there for a strike. These bats today for Bethesda have been on fire. Marmo sent back to first again.
We've seen the big train put up big numbers, but this might be the first time we've seen them record 11 in just one half inning.
The 1-2 pitch, swung on and missed. No, that one's fouled off. So Wilga will stay alive, fending off the off speed from Ariston Veazey.
Wilga gonna face the 1-2 count again, has one runner on first, sitting 12 behind the big train.
The 1-2 pitch, in there for strike three. So Wilga gets frozen on the fastball from Veazey. That'll make it 2 outs. And the third baseman, Brady Steinert, will step up to the plate.
Again, as we're in the bottom of the 6th inning, should the score remain 12-0.
That one's popped up over our heads. And under it in foul territory is Brandon Cassidy. What a catch.
Glad to see that Brandon Cassidy is staying very alert back there in the bullpen.
If we were playing banana ball, that would have been out number 3. As the count moves to 1-1. Unfortunately for us, we play regular baseball. The 1-1 pitch, upstairs for ball 2.
Again, one more out for the Grays would hold them scoreless through 6 and protect the big train's 12-0 lead.
The 2-1 pitch is in there for a strike.
Veazey just 1 strike away from holding the Grays scoreless through 6 innings.
Oh my goodness, there goes the president. The throw down to second is not in time. The ball gets into center field, but Marmo will stay at second. So the count now 3-2 on Steinert. A runner in scoring position for the Grays. And Veazey is going to do a little twirl to send Marmo back to second. Little ballet action on the mound.
Thankfully, he didn't lose his hat on that twirl.
That pitch just outside for ball 4. So Steiner will take his base. That'll bring up the center fielder Ellis Reed with a runner on first and second. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. The Big Train leading 12-0. As we're going to have a mound visit
between Coach Lopez as well as catcher Luke Vaughn. Now, we mentioned seeing some action over in the Big Train bullpen earlier this evening, but VZ made his debut with the Big Train the last time they were at PG Community College, has put up yet another dominant performance from the mound here tonight. So we'll see the conclusion of the mound visit here.
So VZ will remain in the game. Looks like Aiden Kelly is going to start warming up in the Big Train bullpen.
Now, Reed recorded a double during his previous at-bat.
The first offering to Reed, a fastball in there for a strike.
The 2 Alabama players, VZ and Vaughn, working in tandem to retire them quickly.
The 0-1 pitch, swung on and missed for strike 2.
So VZ finds himself again in the position 1 strike away from leaving 2 stranded and holding them scoreless through 6 innings.
Marmo takes off again and will have to retreat back to second. Looks like the double steal was on for the Grays as Steiner took off as well.
But Reed fouled it off down the third base line, sending his runners back to their positions of first and second.
Off speed, swung on and missed for strike 3. So VZ strands another pair. The Big Train remain ahead 12-0. We'll be back for the top of the 7th here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Prince George's Community College here in Largo, Maryland. The Big Train looking to add on to their 12-0 lead as Jack Guerrero will lead off. The first pitch from Kapoor, an off-speed in there for a strike.
Again, as we enter the bottom of at the top of the 7th inning, should the Big Train maintain a 12-run lead through the bottom of the 7th inning, game will be cut short.
So the count now 1-1 on Guerrero. Here comes the 1-1 from Kapoor. That one fouled off. Count now 1-2. Waiting on deck is Landon Franklin, who subbed in earlier in the game for Keenan Bowman at shortstop.
Again, Guerrero, the designated hitter for tonight, has recorded back-to-back base hits.
The off speed is fouled off over the fence down the third base line. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Fouled off once again, this time into the backstop.
The strong breezes have ceased here at Prince George's Community College. Sun still shining brightly above us.
The 1-2 pitch. Fouled off again.
So Guerrero staying alive at the plate to face the 1-2 count again.
Another 1-2 pitch. Checked his swing, did not go around. So Guerrero will stay alive. The count now 2-2. That one's grounded to the second baseman, Lehman, who gets it on to first for out number 1. So Guerrero is retired. Despite a valiant at-bat, that'll bring up the shortstop, Landon Franklin. Hailing from the University of Kentucky, who arguably started a curse in the College World Series. The Wildcats lost to Florida, who then lost to Texas A&M, who then lost to Tennessee in the College World Series championship. Might have to sage Lexington before the next baseball season starts. But Franklin's had a productive summer thus far. First pitch is in there for a strike.
Speaking of curses and luck, manager Sal Colangelo has whipped out a lucky horseshoe for the big train. Can see it sitting in the fence above him. Certainly has brought the big train luck already.
Franklin lines that one into left field for a base hit. So Franklin's aboard with one out here in the top of the 7th inning. Andrew Williamson now stepping up to the plate. Had yet another 2 RBI double in his last plate appearance. Or was that 2 plate appearances ago? I'm not sure.
You were correct. It was his last.
There have been a lot of at-bats here for Bethesda today. First pitch to Williamson in there for a strike.
And this big train batted around during the top of the 5th inning when they put up an 11 spot. But you were correct in saying Williamson's previous at-bat was a double.
The 0-1 pitch, that one lined, fielded at second cleanly by Lehman, and on to first for out number 2. So Williamson's retired on a ground out, as the catcher Luke Vaughn will step up to the plate with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs. Big Train looking for a little more run support if they potentially want to get out of here early. The first pitch to Vaughn, in there for a strike.
Vaughn was left swinging during his previous at-bat, but before then recorded a pair of base hits and was hit by a pitch as well.
That off-speed bounces off a home plate. Franklin will take third easily. That one's scurrying all the way to the backstop. So run number 13 now just a base away. The count 1-1 on Luke Vaughn.
Lucky number 13 in scoring position. Again, tying it back to the horseshoe, which has certainly brought the Big Train a lot of luck here today.
Here comes the 1-1. That one inside for ball 2. And waiting on deck is Jackson Giacconi, who replaced Emilio Gonzalez earlier in the game at first. The 2-1 pitch, grounded up the middle for a base hit. Franklin will score from third. Vaughn will stop at first. And the Big Train now lead 13-0.
Again, some excellent two-out hitting. We saw it on Sunday when the Big Train took on the Alexandria Aces.
And we're going to have a mound visit here with Jai Kapoor. And we'll also have a pitching change for the Grays, which means it's time for another commercial break. We'll be back very shortly here on Big Train Baseball Network.
Wait for me. Keep watching you when you leave. Something new. Keep hoping you feel this too. Holding on and on and on and on. Hoping I can get to know you better. Living in sweet suburbia. Some fun is all we want. Two kids come alive in a night rush. I'll be the girl next door. You be my summer crush. Yeah, I think you should come and pick me up. 'Cause nothing feels as good as summer love.
Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network. We've got a new pitcher on the bump for the Grays. It's Jeremy Capsa from Delaware Valley College, whose first pitch to Jackson Giacconi gets away from Femley, as Luke Vaughn will take second easily.
Capsa, as you said, Delaware Valley College, a rising senior, transferred from Rosemont College, attended Commonwealth Academy High School, hails from Washington, D.C., a native to the DMV area. Pitched sparingly in the spring,
That one's upstairs for ball 2.
only worked 5 innings, allowing 3 hits, 1 run, striking out 5 for a 1.80 ERA.
Here comes the 2-0 pitch. That one's in there for a strike. And speaking of Washington, D.C., the hometown Wizards, just about 30 minutes from the start of the NBA draft, dealing Denny Avdia to Portland. As the 2-1 hits Giacconi. So he'll take his base with 2 outs, bringing up the third baseman, Davin Whitaker.
An untimely hit by pitch, sending up the big bad bat of Davin Whitaker with now 2 runners on the bases. Big Train already leading 13-0, looking to cushion that even further to shut him down at 7 innings.
The first pitch to Whitaker, swung on and driven deep into center field. It is way back and caught by Ellis Reed at the warning track for out number 3. So a loud out to end the top of the 7th, but the Big Train adding 1. They now lead 13-0. All the pitching needs to do in the bottom half of the inning, not allow more than 1, and they'll get out of here early with a win. We'll be right back with the bottom of the 7th here on Big Train Baseball Network. Welcome back to Big Train Baseball Network, where Bethesda leads 13-0 as we head into the bottom of the 7th. The Big Train, a chance to get out of here early with a mercy rule victory. As again, the rule is 12 runs or more after 7 innings. So if the Grays do not score at least 2 runs, this game will be over. As Aiden Kelly is in to pitch for the Big Train. The first pitch is grounded to Crosland at second. Fields it cleanly on to first for out number 1.
So with that, they'll kick it back to the top of the order. Anthony Rocco, 1 out already on the board again. Grays need at least 2 runs to extend this game past 7 innings.
That was a lovely play by Crosland on the routine grounder. It was sharply hit, but a good glove. Makes it 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th as the first pitch from Kelly to Ruoko is an off-speed in there for a strike. The 0-1. That one in there for strike 2.
Again, we've seen Aiden Kelly pitch sparingly for the Big Train this summer.
0-2 pitch is in there for strike 3. Sirocco goes down looking, and that'll bring up Matt Colella with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. The Big Train just 1 out away from their 10th victory of the season.
Again, Grays need at least 2 to extend this past the bottom of the 7th inning.
First pitch is a fastball in the turf. Count moving to 1-0. That one in there for a strike. The count now 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. Did he check his swing?
Yes, he did. Count moves to 1-2 on Colella.
Here comes the pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. And that'll do it here from Prince George's Community College. The Big Train, a 13-0 mercy rule victory over the DC Grays. They get back to 500 at 10-10. But Phoebe, my goodness, they hadn't put together this kind of a performance in a very long time. But as the sun came out, so did the bats for the Big Train, an 11-run inning, helping propel them to their 10th victory of the season.
That's right. This is the first time the mercy rule has been pulled out for the Bethesda Big Train this summer. What a dominant way to take the win. An 11 spot in the top of the 5th inning. We've seen them come up with late inning magic. Normally, as we said, they're trying to come back from a score deficit. This time, putting the Grays in a hole early on. They now take the lead in this series, 2-1.
So the Big Train now back to 10-10. The Grays dropping to 9-11. An awesome offensive and defensive performance from the Big Train. A great pitching outing from VZ, Aiden Kelly, and today's starter, Will Clemens. And I gotta say, Phoebe, before we get out of here, it was VZ and Vaughn for most of the evening at pitcher and catcher. You know what 2 V's make?
A W. Big Train taking their 10th W of the season.
So that'll do it for us here from Prince George's Community College in Largo, Maryland. For our producer, one of our lovely producers, Jordan Parham, our executive producer, Harrison Myers, the other producer, Lindsay Moore, and who unfortunately could not be with us today, but we hope to see her back here soon. For my broadcast partner, Phoebe Winters, I'm Quentin Corpuel, saying so long from Largo, Maryland.